how's it going, folks? And those who does not know about my history background, as why I'm very passionate about this topic is because I just recently finished studying aged care, and I just got into a facility aged care, which you guys may call it institution. Right now, I came across with this article, and it struck me hard because yesterday was my final training. Even though I've worked in aged care for a month, there's this final training that I have to go through. And we talked about the what's the innovation ideas in aged care in the institution in the future on. And some of the stuff, one of the stuff has banged on that really hard on this website that I linked below. And it does talk about the dystopian of aged care. Now, before I begin with this whole topic, I'll like to address why I chose aged care. Right, aged care. Now, my biggest, if you look at my channel, I've always optimistic and always wanting to know about the future. Ever since I got back from my China trip last year, I am so scared of automation, AI, and what I've been seeing in China. And that's why my videos is all focused on the future now. And for me, I wanted to get into a job that is gonna last a very long time. Compared to many other jobs that is gonna be replaced because of repetitive. Where aged care, yes, it is repetitive, but every individual is different. But they also need emotional needs. Now, robots cannot adapt to that, right? However, based on reading this article, this dystopian, what society is like, a version of aged care robots in future. The more I read about it, the more I sit back and ask myself this question: isn't it futuristic already? Working in aged care, like the first thing that I know is it's very very well organized wards with codes and barcodes. It's sort of like, since I know it's not the best word to describe this, but since I'm in this moment, it's like, I can't say prison, right? But it's sort of like a ward prison, right? But not every individual of residents has their lock, right? Or they have their lock. That's their personal preference, whether they want to lock it or not, right? But we're not there to lock them, all right? So just make it clarify. Um, First things first is I felt like working in aged care. It feels very futuristic, very very. You can say it's like a sci-fi because first things first, let's just sums up the layout. I'm not sure all the aged care is like that, but first things first, you need to fingerprint when you log in. So you starting your work. That's number one. Number two is areas are being very, 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 what's that word? Very, very closed. Very, very wards. We call it wards with all these codes, right? We're punching a code each time we go in, each wards. Or they talk about different levels, right? And it's well designed. Meals are prepared. It's very structural. Like, when's your medications coming in? When is your meals coming in? When is your suppers coming in? When are you going to get changed? When are you going to... It's all routine based in your life. Now, obviously, the elderlies cannot... They obviously need assistance, right? Some of them high needs or low needs. But what I can say is that, it's very futuristic, and I could believe this article will diminishes many people such as me as optimistic about future, prolong our job security wise, because now China has introduced robots can talk to communicate with people in malls and things like that, and have a little conversation where us workers doesn't have that much time on individuals. So you have that. And also, yesterday training, the educator, the presenter wanting us each table to describe what we like to see in the innovation. That's the title, right? Technology innovation will happen in aged care. And I just say, I wish there's a AI Siri documentation. So instead of going to your computer, where one, it takes time, and two, the computer or it crashes, or it takes time to load up. Why don't we just have an AI Siri, or maybe have a phone or work phone, and just punch in a number and a diary or documentate what has happened or what has changes, or what has the resident, how much fluids is taken, how much food intake, or have to open their bowels, instead of because we're working at a very high pace, working with 16 residents or 20 or 30 residents. Now 30 residents will split to two workers, right? So you don't have you have insufficient time to go in the computer. So, but the teacher has mentioned that because technology nowadays, we cannot detect what the resident how they feel, right? What's their feeling, what they want, because they cannot communicate. They lost the mobility or the ability or the intellectual, like how they say it out. By having like a scanner, a face recognition scanner, read the muscle, read the everything, or read the brain to understand what they want. Now, there's an article there's a video just introduced, like the AI is a lot more accurate than doctors nowadays. So instead of overdosing or underdosing, the clients, now the AI is a lot more efficient. So yeah, we're heading towards to it. And look at aged care right now. It's very, very structural, right? And sadly, in this article on the link below, it stated that this sort of robots or AI institutionalized, or how to take over human and care for the needs for the workers, residents, are a lot more. They'll do a lot better job. They'll make the residents a lot more happier, and allow them to live the quality of life. It's all about quality of life when it comes to this industry. And this sort of robots will most likely to be used in institutional settings, so which is facility settings. It makes more sense because the facility has more room, more space, and and has the technology, has the power, has the environment capable of robot like to work in the institutional. And plus it works a lot cheaper, because if there's 30 residents in one ward or 16 residents and you have a couple of robots, it works a lot better than having one robot in your home looking after husband and wife, or just husband or widows. And to me, that struck me the most, because I'm at the age of 29 now, and I wanted to plan my life a lot ahead. Don't want to do any fuck ups in my life. Pretty much what I'm trying to tell you. And try to be a sensible human adult and be cautious. But looks like now I have to change my direction now. Even I went to the training yesterday and have all these opportunities and how to climb the aged care facility ladder. I started to jigsaw puzzle what has currently going through, especially with the election, like last week, Australia election. Liberal has won. Liberal is conservative, just to let you guys know, in Australia. That the Labor Party, which is more of the Liberal of America, wanting to introduce more racial staff in aged care. And I believe technology and robots will intervene, will definitely come through, because of now we have Royal Commission is banging on right now with aged care. Now, the outcome of the result hasn't released yet, but there's a lot of shocking, obviously a lot of abuse, neglect going on in the industry. And how do you define it? How do you minimize it? Is it by adding more staff? And you add more staff, that's extra money, because these aged care, majority of the aged care facility are privatized. So companies got to make money, right? They don't want to make a bankrupt business. It is a booming industry because most of the countries out there in the world is heading towards aging population, especially those who are first world countries. This is scary, and now I have to think about what I need to do, because should I just do home community care, or should I just stay with institutionalized? How long is this going to kick in? Because I think this probably kick in probably 10 or 15 years, because building a robots, even Japan right now, having robots but still couldn't replace humans. In Japan right now, they're the first country to go for full robotized. But robots in, but once you put an AI in a robot, this could change everything. But what I could tell you is that an AI robot in an aged care facility wouldn't work as fast as humans. But if they build many of these robots, then we get outnumbered for sure. They'll have multiple robots instead of having 3 or 4 workers in each. Oh no, 3 workers in each wards instead of 1. Right now it's 1, and you have another one is juggling between 2 wards. So my take on it will, because they're asking for a pay rise, and there's a lot of unions. They want to make aged care get into union. Once this get to union, that's game over. You already know this industry is gone. I know nursing is game over in the future. Nursing is game over already, because nursing is easy for AI to replace. Very, very easy. Now, for aged care workers, we can provide medication. Now, you can, us workers, we can just move the equipment and have the robot and have the AI camera, or have this sort of scanning tool to scan the whole person. Will identify the accurate problem than the nurses. That's why I've refused to study nurse. I refuse to. And robots will definitely replace it. I was looking very ahead of my life on doing aged care, but looks like now it's not that secure than I ever thought. I never thought it would be replaced. But then again, how long is it going to be introduced? 2 decades or 3 decades? God knows. We'll wait and see how this Royal Commission comes out, and we'll see how it goes.